Notre-Dame de Paris, that grand old lady of the Ile de la Cité, has stood as a testament to French Gothic architecture for over 8 centuries. As I gaze upon her imposing western facade, I'm struck by the sheer audacity of her builders. Imagine, if you will, the year 1163. Paris is a bustling medieval city, and the ambitious Bishop Maurice de Sully has just laid the cornerstone for what will become one of the most recognisable buildings in the world. The construction would take nearly 200 years, spanning the reigns of multiple French monarchs and weathering the tumultuous politics of medieval France. What sets Notre-Dame apart from her Romanesque predecessors is her pioneering use of the rib vault and flying buttress. These architectural innovations allowed the walls to soar to unprecedented heights, filling the interior with light through enormous stained glass windows. The rose windows, in particular, are a triumph of medieval craftsmanship. Each one is a kaleidoscope of biblical stories and saints' lives, rendered in vibrant hues that must have seemed almost miraculous to the common folk of Paris. But Notre-Dame is more than just an architectural marvel. She's a living, breathing part of French history. Kings have been crowned beneath her vaulted ceilings, and revolutionaries have desecrated her altars. She's witnessed the coronation of Napoleon, the liberation of Paris, and countless other pivotal moments in the life of the nation. In many ways, the story of Notre-Dame is the story of France itself. That most glorious church of the most glorious Virgin Mary, Mother of God, deservedly shines out like the sun among stars, and although some speakers, by their own free judgment, because they are able to see only a few things easily, may say that some other is more beautiful, I believe, however, respectfully, that if they attend more diligently to the whole and the parts, they will quickly retract this opinion. Let's delve into the architectural wonders that make Notre-Dame such a remarkable structure. The cathedral's use of flying buttresses was truly revolutionary for its time. These external supports allowed the walls to be built higher and thinner than ever before, creating a sense of soaring verticality that's quintessentially Gothic. The buttresses aren't just functional though, they're works of art in their own right, with delicate arches and intricate stone carvings that draw the eye upward towards the heavens. Inside the cathedral, the rib vaults are equally impressive. These stone ribs, which form a skeletal structure supporting the roof, allowed for much larger windows than had previously been possible. The result is an interior bathed in coloured light from the enormous stained glass windows. The most famous of these, of course, are the 3 great rose windows. The south rose, in particular, is a masterpiece of medieval craftsmanship, measuring nearly 13 metres in diameter. But it's not just the grand architectural features that make Notre-Dame special. The devil, as they say, is in the details. The cathedral is adorned with hundreds of sculptures, each telling its own story. Gargoyles and chimeras perch on the upper galleries, their grotesque forms a stark contrast to the serene saints and biblical figures below. These sculptures weren't just decorative, though. They served an important purpose in medieval times, acting as a poor people's book that told biblical stories to a largely illiterate population. Where indeed, I ask, would they find 2 towers of such magnificence and perfection, so high, so large, so strong, clothed round about with such multiple varieties of ornaments? Where, I ask, would they find such a multipartite arrangement of so many lateral vaults, above and below? Where, I ask, would they find such light-filled amenities as the many surrounding chapels? Notre-Dame's history is inextricably linked with that of France itself. From its beginnings in the 12th century, the cathedral has been at the heart of Parisian life. It's seen coronations, royal weddings, and the crowning of Henry VI of England as King of France in 1431. But perhaps no event in its history is more famous than the coronation of Napoleon Bonaparte in 1804. I find it fascinating that Napoleon, that great modernizer, chose to be crowned in this ancient cathedral. It speaks to the enduring power of Notre-Dame as a symbol of French nationhood. But Notre-Dame has also seen darker days. During the French Revolution, the cathedral was desecrated, its treasures plundered, and many of its sculptures destroyed. The revolutionaries, in their zeal to eradicate all traces of the old regime, even went so far as to decapitate the statues of biblical kings on the facade, mistaking them for French monarchs. It's a sobering reminder of how quickly centuries of history and art can be erased in times of political upheaval. The 19th century saw a renewed interest in Notre-Dame, thanks in large part to Victor Hugo's novel The Hunchback of Notre-Dame. This led to a major restoration project under the direction of Eugène Viollet-le-Duc. While some of his additions, like the famous spire, weren't strictly historical, they've become an integral part of how we imagine Notre-Dame today. It's a reminder that even our most cherished historical monuments are often as much products of later restoration as they are of their original construction. The whiteness under the dirt was quite spectacular. Notre-Dame is more than just a building, it's the heart of Paris. Geographically, it sits at the very centre of the city on the Ile de la Cité. But its centrality goes beyond mere location. For centuries, distances in France were measured from a point in front of Notre-Dame. It was, quite literally, the point from which all of France was measured. This physical centrality mirrors its cultural importance. Notre-Dame has been a constant presence in the life of Paris, from the Middle Ages to the modern day. The cathedral has also played a significant role in French intellectual and artistic life. Its school was one of the forerunners of the University of Paris, and it has inspired countless works of art and literature. Victor Hugo's novel, of course, is the most famous, but Notre-Dame has appeared in everything from paintings to poems to films. It's a testament to the cathedral's enduring power to capture the imagination. But perhaps most importantly, Notre-Dame has been a place of worship and spiritual significance for over 8 centuries. Despite all the tourists and all the history, it remains an active cathedral. Its bells still ring out over Paris, calling the faithful to Mass just as they have for hundreds of years. And while not everyone who visits Notre-Dame comes for religious reasons, there's no denying the sense of awe and reverence that the building inspires. Standing beneath those soaring vaults, it's hard not to feel a connection to the countless generations who have stood in that same spot before us. Notre-Dame is our history, our literature, part of our psyche, the place of all our great events, our epidemics, our wars, our liberations. This history is ours, and it burns. It burns, and I know the sadness so many of our fellow French feel. On the 15th of April 2019, the world watched in horror as Notre-Dame burned. The fire, which began in the attic, quickly spread to the roof and the iconic spire. For a few terrifying hours, it seemed as though the entire cathedral might be lost. The collapse of the fleche, that delicate spire added by Viollet-le-Duc in the 19th century, was a particularly heart-wrenching moment. I remember watching the live footage, feeling a sense of helplessness and loss that I'm sure was shared by millions around the world. But even as the flames raged, there were moments of hope. The bravery of the Paris firefighters, who risked their lives to save as much of the cathedral as possible, was truly inspiring. And when the smoke cleared, we saw that while the damage was severe, it wasn't as catastrophic as we had feared. The main structure of the cathedral, including the iconic twin towers, had survived. Many of the priceless artworks and relics had been saved, including the crown of thorns, believed by many to be the crown worn by Jesus Christ during his crucifixion. In the aftermath of the fire, President Emmanuel Macron promised that Notre-Dame would be restored within 5 years. It's an ambitious timeline, to be sure, but one that speaks to the importance of the cathedral to French national identity. The restoration process has been fascinating to watch. It's not just about rebuilding what was lost, but about making decisions about what Notre-Dame should be for future generations. Should the spire be rebuilt exactly as it was, or should it be reimagined for the 21st century? These are questions that go to the heart of how we relate to our historical monuments. As we look to the future of Notre-Dame, it's worth reflecting on what this cathedral means to us. It's more than just a beautiful building or a tourist attraction. It's a symbol of resilience, of the enduring power of human creativity and faith. Notre-Dame has survived wars, revolutions, and now a devastating fire. Each time it has been rebuilt, renewed, and reimagined for a new age. The restoration of Notre-Dame is not just about preserving the past, but about shaping the future. The decisions made now will determine how future generations experience this iconic building. Will they see it as a frozen moment in time, a perfect recreation of its pre-fire state? Or will they see evidence of our own era's contribution to its long history? These are complex questions with no easy answers, but they're questions worth grappling with. Whatever form the restored Notre Dame takes, I have no doubt that it will continue to inspire and awe visitors for centuries to come. It has weathered the storms of history before, and it will do so again. As we eagerly await its reopening scheduled for December 2024, we can take comfort in the knowledge that Notre-Dame de Paris, that grand old lady of the Ile de la Cité, will once again stand proud, a testament to the enduring spirit of Paris and the French nation. The interior elevations will regain their original colour, since the chapels and side aisles were very dirty. Of course, it is not a white colour. The stone has a blonde colour, and the architects are very attentive to obtaining a patina which respects the centuries. As we come to the end of our journey through the history and significance of Notre-Dame de Paris, I'm struck by the cathedral's remarkable ability to endure and adapt. From its medieval origins to its current restoration, Notre Dame has been in a constant state of evolution. Yet, through all these changes, it has maintained its essential character and its central place in French culture. The story of Notre Dame is, in many ways, the story of France itself. It has witnessed coronations and revolutions, times of faith and times of secularism. It has been a place of worship, a setting for historical events, and a canvas for artistic expression. Even in our increasingly secular age, Notre Dame continues to hold a special place in the hearts of Parisians and visitors from around the world. In fact, I believe that this church offers the carefully discerning such cause for admiration that its inspection can scarcely sate the soul. As we look to the future, the restoration of Notre Dame offers us a unique opportunity to reflect on our relationship with our historical heritage. How do we balance preservation with renewal? How do we honour the past while meeting the needs of the present and future? These are questions that go beyond Notre Dame, touching on how we approach all our historical monuments in an ever-changing world. Whatever the answers, I'm certain that Notre Dame will continue to stand as a beacon of French culture and history, inspiring generations to come with its beauty, its resilience, and its enduring spirit.